The Tale of Peter Rabbit. Once upon a time there were 4 little rabbits, and their names were Flopsy, Mopsy, Cottontail, and Peter, and they lived with their mama underneath a big tree. One day, the 4 little bunnies wanted to go out to play. Mama said that they could go to play, but said, "Do not go into Mr. McGregor's garden." She said, "Your daddy had an accident there, and he was put in a pie by Mrs. McGregor, so don't go in his garden." So off they went to go play outside. Mrs. Mama Rabbit, she went to town. She went to see the baker to get a loaf of bread and some currant buns. Well, Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail, they were good little bunnies. They listened to their mama. They went down the lane to get some blackberries. But Peter, he was very naughty. He didn't listen to his mama, and he went straight to Mr. McGregor's garden, and he squeezed under the gate. Well, that naughty little Peter Rabbit, he started eating Mr. McGregor's food from the garden. He ate some lettuce and some beans, and he ate some radishes, and he ate so much food that he felt sick, and his tummy was yucky, and he went to go look for some parsley to help his tummy feel better, and guess who he saw? Mr. McGregor. And Mr. McGregor saw Peter Rabbit, and pretty soon Mr. McGregor was chasing Peter Rabbit, and he was running and running and running, and Mr. McGregor was running after him, and he was yelling at him, saying, "Stop, you Peter Rabbit! You naughty little thing! You ate my food!" Peter was so scared. He was running so fast through the garden he couldn't remember how to get out. And he even lost his shoe in the cabbage. And then he lost his other shoe in the potatoes. And then he was running so fast he got caught in a net, a gooseberry net, and the buttons on his pretty coat that his mama made for him got stuck in the net, and he couldn't get away. And Mr. McGregor was coming, and he thought, "Oh man, I made a mistake. I was naughty, and I just shouldn't have been. I should have listened to my mama. And now I'm stuck here and I'll never get out. And Mr. McGregor's gonna catch me and turn me into a pie just like he did my dad." Well, then some nice little birds came down. And they said, "Peter Rabbit, you can do it. Wiggle out of your coat. You can do it. You can do it. Hurry, get away. Here comes Mr. McGregor." And Mr. McGregor was getting closer and closer, and he almost caught Peter Rabbit. But just in time, Peter Rabbit wiggled out of his coat, and he ran again. And he ran into the tool shed in the garden. And in the tool shed, he found a water can, so he jumped into it. And in the can, there was water, and he got all wet. And Mr. McGregor came in the shed, and he was looking and looking and looking for Peter Rabbit. He just knew he was in there somewhere. So he started turning over all the flower pots to see where Peter Rabbit was. And pretty soon, Peter Rabbit sneezed. He went, "Achoo!" And Mr. McGregor heard Peter Rabbit sneeze. And he came right over to the water can to get Peter Rabbit. But Peter jumped out just in time, and he escaped He got out of the shed and he ran as fast as he could out of the shed and down the stairs, and he knocked over some flower pots. Phew! Pretty soon Mr. McGregor was tired, and he just couldn't chase Peter Rabbit anymore. So he stopped chasing Peter Rabbit. Peter Rabbit just sat there for a minute, just trying to rest because he was so sleepy, and he was all wet from sitting in that water can. And then he thought, well, I gotta get out of here. I gotta get home to my mama. So he looked around, and he looked around. He asked for help from a little mouse, but the mouse couldn't help him. Then he thought about asking for help from a kitty cat, but he decided that was not a good idea. And then he was creeping around the garden trying to figure out how to get out. And then he saw Mr. McGregor. And behind Mr. McGregor was the gate to get out. So he ran and he ran as fast as he could past Mr. McGregor and under the gate. And he made it back home. But before he made it home, Mr. McGregor hung up Peter Rabbit's coat and his shoes for a scarecrow to scare the birds away and to remind all the little bunnies not to come in his garden. Well, Peter Rabbit, he ran all the way home and never stopped till he got back to his mama's tree. And he was so tired that when he got there, he just laid right down and went right to sleep. His mama was busy cooking some yummy food, and she wondered where Peter Rabbit's clothes had gone, where his nice coat went that she made him, and where his nice shoes went. Well, Peter Rabbit's tummy didn't feel very good, and he was pretty tired, so he had to go to bed early that night without any dinner. But his mama gave him some medicine and said that he'd feel better in the morning. So he went to sleep with an upset tummy, while his brothers and sisters, Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail, had yummy bread and milk and blackberries for dinner with their mama. Good night, Elsie. Love you.